It's about time. We finally have the Audi fixed. We got no more clicking noise coming from the engine bay. After, I want to say about 2 months without having a car, I finally have a car again. In last video, I went over how I had to replace the intake manifold, water pump, and high pressure fuel pump. There was a lot more wrong with the car, a lot of broken parts than I really thought there was. I'm going to turn the car on, let it idle a bit just so you guys see that there's no more noise coming from the engine bay. The idle is a lot smoother. There's no more hiccups finally. We'll also go over everything that had to be replaced in the end. So like I was saying, we ended up replacing a bunch of parts, including the PCV valve, the N80 valve, both the cam adjuster magnets, the N205 valve, or spool valve if you want to call it, high pressure fuel pump, intake manifold, and water pump. And then on top of that, there were like 3 other sensors, but that didn't exactly fix the car. What fixed the car was the spool valve on both intake and exhaust. Originally, when I did do the cam adjuster magnets, I checked the spool valves and they seemed to function properly, so I didn't think anything of it. Those ended up being my problem, so got those replaced, and now the car's running great. As you can see, the idle is sitting where it should be. It's not bouncing all over the place like it was before. When I rev it, it's pretty much instant. So to me, it's pretty safe to say that the car's fixed. I don't gotta worry for quite some time. And that just means now we can go into modifying it more. And that's exactly what we're gonna be doing in today's video. Let's head inside and I will show you guys what's going on in the Audi. Okay, so I just ended up bringing everything outside. Today we are gonna be doing the carbon fiber lip spoiler, and also we got some lowering springs going on the Audi. I already went ahead and wiped down the trunk. I'm gonna hit it again with some rubbing alcohol. That way it gives the best chance for the 3M tape to stick. Once we're finished with that, we will jump into the lowering springs. I'll be doing that between today and tomorrow, probably, just because I'm running out of time. I've went ahead, already put the 3M tape on. I threw out the tape that it came with just because it is junk, and I like using the 3M VHB.
Feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Alright, so I got all these pigtails taped off, just giving me just some points to kind of pull from. A little tip is always pull both sides of the 3M tape, just that way, in case it rips, you have another one to pull from. Now, before we go ahead and flip over the lip, I'm gonna give the trunk one final wipe down, and then we can finally install this.
Complain, just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
That looks absolutely 10 times better. Now that that is all finished up, we can finally move on to the H&R lowering springs. Alright, I want to apologize beforehand as I don't have my mic hooked up. H&R gives you a sheet where you can write down your stock ride height and then your lowered ride height. This kind of comes in handy so I can write it down and I won't forget things. I am going to record it, obviously, the before and after, and measure it out. This is just good to have so I can reference it later. Now that I've went over that, let's get into this install. And then you guys know stickers add 10 horsepower, so we're going to be throwing those on in the end. So you guys just watch me pop the wheel covers off. The reason being is I'm going to measure from the top of this to the fender. That way we can get a better idea of how much drop we get in the end with these lowering springs. I also had to take them off just so I could figure out what bolt size that is because I didn't look. Okay, so I'm currently going to be heading to AutoZone just because I need a socket that's big enough for my axle nut, which I realized I didn't even have. It needs to be a 12 point. I think it's a 23 or 24 millimeter. So we're going to head out and go grab that.
X-band, K-band, K-A-band.
Alright, so we just made it to AutoZone. Now I'm gonna head inside real quick, grab the socket. Alright, so thankfully they ended up having it. It's a 24 millimeter right on the dot. I already test fitted it and everything, so now we just need to get home and get this done because it is 4 o'clock and I haven't even started yet. We're back at the house. Like I said, I already went out. I got the new socket. Definitely fits nice and snug. Pretty much just got to start taking this all apart, but before we do that, like I said previously, we're gonna actually measure out from the axle nut all the way up to the bottom portion of the fender right here, get those measurements, and then compare it from before and after. So now I'm not on completely level surface, so it's probably gonna be a little bit different, but it should be right around 13 and a half, which we are just at 13 and a half on this side, and then trying to get past. Passenger side says it's sitting right at 14, so like I said, we're not on level surface. So that's going to be throwing it off quite a bit. We're going to get right into this install and see the difference. So it's the next day. Yesterday I ended up doing the driver's side without recording it, and then today I will be recording the passenger side. We're going to start in the rear just because the rears are a lot easier to do. That way I can kind of just bang it out, get it done quick. That way once we get to the front, if I'm struggling at all, I can kind of take all day to do it. Okay, so all we got to do is break 3 bolts loose. We got this one, and then the third one over there. Once those are broken loose, we can pretty much just drop this and then rip the spring out. Alright, so now that we got all 3 of those broken, I am going to be using the scissor jack over here just to kind of decompress everything a little bit. Have everything kind of decompressed, we can take these bolts out and then push it down, take the shock out. Got all 3 bolts out. Now we can drop this and the spring should just pretty much come right out. Just like that. Now I'm gonna bring this inside, kind of clean it up, and then I'm also gonna get some brake clean and clean this little nub right here just to kind of get any of the caked up crap that's on it. And then once I'm done cleaning this off, we can put the rear spring in. Alright, I got this as clean as I can get it. And then up in here, we cleaned that off as well, got all the gunk off. Now, if you can see this little portion right here, we got to match up onto the spring right here. Once we have this seated in properly, we can then seat it into the bucket down here. Also, when you install the spring, you want to be able to make sure that you can read the letters, so it's going to be going in somewhat like this, just depending on which orientation. So we got the rear spring in. I made sure both ends are in the right position. Now I'm just going to use the scissor jack to kind of make sure the strut is lined up properly, which it almost is. put the bolts back in, and we should be pretty much done. All right, so we got the rear all put back together. All three of these bolts are all torqued up. Now all I gotta do is put the wheel back on, jack it back down, and then we can work on the final corner. All right, after fighting it with it for some time, we finally got the front strut all apart. Now I just need to clean everything, put it all back together, and then the daily will finally be lowered. Last spring is installed, came inside, changed my clothes, cleaned up a little bit. We're about to head out, kind of take it on a test drive, make sure I tightened all the bolts down right. Now before we actually head out, I do still have to remeasure everything just so I can get an idea of how much drop we have so far. Now according to H&R's website, it should be about 1.5 inch drop. Now before it was 13.5, so that should bring me down to 12 inches. Now since we did just finish installing them, I probably won't see 12, but once they settle and everything, it should be a lot closer to that number. So I did break my tripod while making this video. We're gonna be doing this all by hand, pretty much just line it up here, and then you guys are gonna see that number before I do. I wanna say that's about right. I think that looks like 12. And then same thing for the front. Put this here, put that there. I can't see the number. You guys can probably see it better than I can. Hopefully it's 12. Heading to the spot that I usually go to just because it's level surface, so that way you guys can get a true idea of how the car looks and everything. Now I'm gonna continue heading there, and once I arrive, I will talk to you there. Apologize for the wind noise. I forgot my mic at home, but car is done. We got it all lowered. The fitment in the end isn't the best because right now we're on the stock 17s that the car came with. I'm waiting on new tires just so the 18s can go back on. On the stock springs, I could pretty much fist. Hold up. That being said, it is definitely a lot lower because before I could pretty much fit my whole entire fist in here. Now it's barely even 2 fingers. Now I am still on the OEM struts, so I do plan to upgrade those in the future with the Bilsteins. Even though we haven't done those yet, I definitely noticed quite the difference in the handling side of things. Overall, I'm just totally satisfied with how this car is starting to look between the lowering springs, carbon fiber mirror cap tints, carbon fiber lip spoiler. Totally changed how this car looks. The only thing I gotta do is get those 18s back on. Now the wind's really starting to pick up, making it difficult to record, so I'm just gonna wrap this video up here. Oh! If you've made it this far, please like this video. Comment down below what you would like to see in a future video. Also, if you have not yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button. As always, my name is Ryan. I'll see you in the next video.
I can hear the demons when they do what they do, and now I feel like taking off. Find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's